Hello, yogi. It's going to be a practice to release any tension around the head, neck, shoulders. And we're going to be doing this using mostly somatic exercises, which may be a little bit new to you. You may feel like in some of the things that I show you, you're not actually doing anything or not doing much at all. But I urge you to just keep going with it, because I found really great relief within my tense shoulders. This is where I hold the weight of the world, as a lot of us do. I found immense relief from this practice. So give it a go, and yeah, let me know how it feels for you after and the day after. What we do in somatics before we lie down and start our centering, what we do in somatics is most of the movements have 3 parts, and it will be a sliding short of the muscles, or a kind of a contraction, a sliding long of the muscles, and then a complete rest, a complete melt for a couple of seconds before we start again. So we can just do that with the shoulders. So you can just bring your shoulders all the way up towards the ears, and then you can just slide the arms, the shoulders slowly back down, and then just switch everything off. And we'll do that one more time. So you're going to lift the shoulders up, and then lengthen them down slowly, a little bit lower than neutral, and then switch off. Okay, so with that in mind, we're just going to come to lie down. I'm just going to grab my block. You will need a block or a cushion for one of the exercises we're going to do on our sides, so make sure you have something like that handy. So we're just going to start in constructive rest. So our base pose, just to take a moment to close the eyes. And closing of the eyes, of this gesture that turns your focus from outside in the world doing to internal focus, just being and feeling and connecting to self. Noticing your breath. And just noticing what your breath does, if anything, with the lower back. You might feel very slightly that as you inhale, your lower back arches a little bit more away from the floor. And as you exhale, it very slightly flattens towards the floor. Not encouraging this yet, but just noticing how deeper breaths in the belly facilitate this little bit of movement. Okay, and then we're just going to release the arms just alongside the body. And actually you need to be able to be in a T shape. I'm a little bit too close to the wall. I'm just going to move away a little bit, but you want to be able to have your arms in a T shape, and your legs are still bent. And we're just going to move through arch and flatten. So you're finding that bigger arch in the lower back as you bring your weight a little bit more onto the tailbone, and then you're finding a flatten of the lower back. So you completely close that gap. And just keep doing that. So find your arch and find your flatten. And once you know what we're doing, you can close the eyes and just continue that. Notice what happens in your head and neck. So the neck functionally should do the opposite to the lower back. So as your lower back flattens, you might find the neck arch of your neck is more exaggerated, and as your lower back arches, you might find that your neck flattens. You might not, and just kind of acknowledging, observing. And as we inhale and arch, we're going to externally rotate through the shoulders. So you're just going to have your thumbs, kind of like a soft thumbs up kind of position. And you're going to allow the thumbs to tap the floor behind you as you arch. And then you're just going to come back to neutral. You're not going to go to flatten. We're just going to do that a few times. So you're going to go to arch and let the thumbs just kind of turn upwards and touch the floor. And then just back to neutral with hands and with pelvis. And just do that one more time. So thumbs turn up, arch the back, and back to neutral. And then come to flatten and turn the palms all the way down. Okay, so you're just going to go from flatten to neutral, and the thumbs are going to turn all the way down so they kind of tap the floor just in front of the arms as you flatten. Then we can piece the two movements together, so arch and flatten. As you inhale, try and make it your arch, your thumbs up, and as you exhale, you flatten, thumbs down. And just keep that going a couple more times. Okay, and then from there, you can build fists. Create fists as you flatten and turn the palms down. And then open the palms, open the fingers as you turn the palms up. Still moving through arch and flatten, but with closed fists as you flatten and open as you arch. Beautiful. And then we're going to just rest, melt, stop everything for a moment. We're going to bring the hands behind the head, interlace the fingers. Coming into your arch position again, so that arch under the lower back gets a little bit bigger again. And then as you flatten, you're going to lift the head, neck, a little bit the shoulders. And as you inhale, you slowly come back down. Switch everything off. Find your arch. Find your flatten. And slowly lift. What's sliding short? That can be your kind of inquiry. And then slowly lowering down. What slides long? And then let everything melt. So in somatics, those three parts, the sliding short, sliding long, and then the complete melt. Okay, so the arch, the flatten and lift. What's shortening as you do that? Keep a little bit of contraction as you lengthen back down. And then completely melt. One more. The arch, the flatten and lift. And this time see how slowly, see if you can come down in stages with the head. And then completely relax the arms. We're going to just keep the right arm behind the head, and the left arm can just come alongside the body. And we're going to just see if we can lift up this right elbow kind of towards that left knee, and you're looking down towards your left hip, and then slowly lowering back down. This is for the neck, believe it or not. You can bring your left hand just to the right side of your neck, to the muscles here, okay? And you'll see next time as you lift up, that sticky out muscle that sticks out the side of the neck, okay? It's sliding short as you lift up. It's sliding along as you slowly lower back down, and then switch off at the bottom. Okay, we're just going to do that a couple more times on this side. If it helps to keep your hand there on your neck, absolutely can. We want everything to be really easy in somatics. Last one. And then completely relax for a moment, both arms alongside the body. We'll do the other side. Left hand behind your head. If that was helpful on the other side, you can bring your right hand onto the left side of your neck, so you can feel as you lift up and lower back down, those muscles are working. Completely relax them, and then do it again. Do a few more in your own pace. By the way, you can still definitely lift up with an exhale and a flatten, if you like, and find that arch with the inhale when you're back down. Let everything relax again. Just nodding or shaking the head very lightly from side to side. Allowing the jaw to be really soft. And then we're going to do what we did sitting up, but lying down. So shoulders up towards the ears, and then sliding down again. A little bit further than they maybe would go, and then back to center. Sliding the shoulders up towards the ears, and then all the way down. And back to neutral. And this time you're going to slide the shoulders up towards the ears, and then lift the chin up. So you've kind of lost your neck, like a little kind of turtle. And then slowly slide down the shoulders and slide the head back to neutral. Do that 2 more times. So sliding the shoulders up, then looking up, so you're lifting the chin. And then sliding both back down again. Last one. And then just switch everything off again. And sometimes it's the gentlest practices that have the most powerful and profound effect on the body. It's not when we really kind of push and kind of really have to feel everything in our yoga practice. Of course, there's a time and a place for that sort of practice, but just be open to making profound change in a gentle way. Okay, we're going to see if you can lift the left shoulder towards the left ear, and then turn the head the opposite way. So turn the head to the right, and then slowly relax the shoulder and the head back to center. We're going to do that a few times. So lift the shoulder up towards the ear, left side, look to the right, and then slowly back with both. One more time. And then the other side, so your right ear to your right shoulder towards right ear, head looks to the left, and then slowly back to center. And again, 2 more times. So as the shoulder slides towards the ear, the head turns the opposite way. And in the coming back, it's slow and mindful. And there's a moment of melt. And then just allow everything to switch off. And just notice what you notice. Close the eyes. Okay, and then we're going to just roll over onto one side. That's when you're going to need your block or your pillow just under your head. And you're going to stack your knees kind of one on top of the other. And your underneath arm can kind of come out just horizontally from the shoulder. And your other arm can just rest on top of the body. And we're going to see if we can just kind of do some shoulder shrugs, but in a different relationship to gravity and to the ground. So see if you can hug your shoulder up towards your ear and then back to neutral. And just do that a couple of times. What slides short, what slides long. And then you're going to reach down as if you're trying to reach something out of your pocket. And then doing that reaching down, just back to neutral a couple of times. It's just kind of tiny movements, really mindful. And then you're going to piece those two together, so that kind of shoulder shrug and then that reach into your pocket. Just a couple of times. And then just coming back to neutral for a moment. And then we're going to bring that shoulder forward. Right shoulder, or whatever shoulder's on top, comes forward. Mine's the right shoulder, and then back. So rather than up and down, it's forward position we're in quite a lot of the time, that forward shoulder position, and then back. And then we're going to piece the 4 together. So can you do an up, back, down, forward, and just kind of join the dots and see if you can make it smooth and circular rather than square. And change the direction. Go the other way. Okay, and then just relaxing. You can just turn the other way. So you can just roll onto your back and then turn the other way. But I'm going to switch ends so that you can still see me. So we're going to start with something different on this side. So do the same thing but just different order. So you're going to just bring that shoulder forward and back. We'll do the forward and back first. Okay, forward and back. And then back to center, and we'll slide the arm long, reaching deep into your imaginary pocket, and back to center, long, and back to center, and then up into that shrug, And then just between the two a few times. So that shrug and that reach. And then we'll circle. So you can maybe do forward circles first. Just trying to find smooth kind of sensation. If there is tightness in the shoulder, it might feel a bit clunky, a bit dry. That's because it probably is. And we're just bringing nice fluids and circulation back to the tissues, hydrating so that they can move a bit freer. If you haven't changed the direction yet, you can change the direction a couple of times. And then we're going to turn onto our bellies. Just push your block away. And just bring one hand on top of the other, rest the head down. Just allow everything to relax for a moment. And we're going to bring the arms kind of into cactus shape. Okay, and it's a little bit tricky because my microphone's strapped to my chest, so I can't come all the way down, but you're just going to bring your right side of your head down, so you're looking out to the left. And then as you inhale, you're going to lift up. And as you exhale, you're going to turn your head the other way. Allow a moment of melt. And then as you inhale, lifting up. As you exhale, other way. Moment of melt. And then just keep that going with your breath. If I look a little bit awkward doing this, it's because my microphone, I don't want to crush it. Okay, and then just resting. Again, you can rest your forehead on your hands again for a moment. And we're going to come into more of a cobra. So you can bring your forearms down and your hands down, and then lift your forearms off the mat. So you're pressing a little bit into your hands. Okay, arms are quite close into the body. And we're simply going to roll the shoulders, again like we did in our side position, but both. Rolling forward. If it feels too much for your lower back, please come down. Maybe just do one or two at a time. Rolling back. And then seeing if you can roll, you can swim the shoulders one at a time. Beautiful, and then resting down again, head to hands. And then from there, just slowly, we're going to help ourselves up to a tabletop and then to a seat, so you can come to sit on your heels or cross-legged. You can sit up on something if that works better for you. And just going to take a moment just to feel the shoulders in this seated position. See if you can relax them. And then we'll do our lifts again, Shoulders towards the ears, and then slowly lower, and then switch off. Do that again 2 more times. Shoulders lifting up, slowly lower, and then switch off. One more. Then we're going to lift the shoulders up again towards the ears and look the chin up, the same as we did lying down. So you kind of lose the back of your neck, and then slowly shoulders lower, head comes back to center. And again. Now, like we did lying down, lift your right ear towards your right shoulder towards your right ear, and then look the opposite way. And then slowly head, shoulder back to neutral. Completely relax. 2 more times. Shoulder towards ear, look the opposite way. Slowly back. Melt. Last one. Other side. Shoulder towards ear, look the other way. And then slowly back. Last one, shoulder to ear, look the other way. Head and shoulder slides back. And then we're going to imagine or acknowledge that the roots of the neck don't finish here. The neck doesn't finish here, it actually finishes in the sternum, the chest, breastbone. So the roots, you can imagine that the head is the branches of the tree, the neck is the trunk, and then the roots come down in here. Primary root being the sternum, secondary root being the tailbone. We're going to see if we can just do some seated cat-cows with that image in mind. So your neck staying really kind of connected to its roots. Maybe as you inhale, you lift the chest and drop the head slightly back. And then as you exhale, you round in. But the head is really connected to its roots. So we're not kind of like headless chickens just throwing our heads around. We feel that it's deeply connected. Okay, and then just coming back to neutral. We'll come to tabletop. And again, thinking that acknowledging that the neck, the roots of the neck are in the sternum. We'll move through cat-cows. This orientation to the ground. So a lot of the things we've done in this class are the same things, but just with different relationship to gravity, ground and space, which brings about a different feeling. Moving with your breath. And then we're going to just become really saggy between the shoulders, so the chest just kind of sags down. I'll show you from this way as well. So a neutral would be about here, and then saggy is like that. So you've got a bit of a dip in the upper back. You can often see that in beginners. So a saggy cat, and then you're just going to go from saggy cat to neutral a few times. So see if you can find that sagging and use the ground to push a little bit back to neutral. And then from neutral, can you push up? So the space between your shoulders lifts, and then back to neutral, and then to saggy. These little kind of rhomboid push-ups. And then we're going to come back onto our heels again, if that's okay, otherwise cross-legged or however works. And we're just going to lace the fingers, glue the hands together, and then glue the forearms together too. And then you're going to kind of unstick through the forearms, turn the palms to face forward, unstick through the hands, and then through the fingers, and then closing from there. Unsticking, and then gluing back together. And just swap the cross of your fingers, so you've got your other thumb on top. Might feel like you're a little bit more awkward, because it's not your kind of common way of lacing. And then just figure of eighting the wrists a little bit. Just loose. Nice way to release from cat. We're going to come back to our tabletop. And rather than moving on the sagittal plane, so forward and back in cat-cows, we're going to see if you can move like you've got a hula hoop around your waist. So you're coming a little bit more into rotation. And you can allow the head and neck to kind of move with the hips. And then see if you can make the head move the opposite way to the body. That's a little bit trickier. Just having a little bit of fun with it, just keeping it really novel and loose. And then we're going to come up to a downward facing dog. And then from your downward facing dog, just looking up towards your hands and walking your feet up towards the top of your mat. Just hanging there for a moment, knees bent, belly can rest on thighs, spine can just cascade like a waterfall over your legs. You might hold your elbows if that feels nicer. Just take a couple more breaths. And then from here, bending your knees a little bit more, finding the ground, feet about hip distance if they're not already. And we're going to, as we press down, just start to roll up through the spine, a spinal roll, all the way up. And then feeling that whilst the roots of the neck are in the sternum, the top of the neck is here, kind of the cheekbone level with the kind of sticky out bit of the ear there on each side. And seeing if you can allow your forward fold, your spinal roll to come from there. So it's almost like you've kind of got a skewer through the head, although that's not a nice thought. And you bring the head forward, knees are a little bit bent, and you allow the roll, the head heavy, and roll all the way down, and then push through the feet and slowly come back up. It's kind of vertebrae by vertebrae. Head, neck come up last. Again, that imagine that pivot coming first from the head. We'll come back down again. Head heavy, giving into gravity, and then we kind of slow the descent down. And then push back up again. And we'll just go down one more time. Again, pivot from the head, knees bend. We're not going to come back up this time. You're going to bend your knees a little bit more and then step your feet back to down dog. And then you're going to rest in your child's pose. I like to just have my hands one on top of the other, just cushioning the head. And then from here, going to gently lift up. And we're going to come back onto our backs. Back into that constructive rest position. So it's the same way that we started the practice. Legs bent. Feet down. And for some bridge, like preparation for bridge pose, we have the feet directly under the knees, but we want them just a little bit further in front of the knees. We're going to do our arch and flatten again just to finish. So find your arch. Notice what happens in your head. Does it feel like your head kind of slides down the mat a bit as you arch? And then as you flatten, does it feel like the head slides up the mat slightly? As you flatten, you're then going to lift just 1 inch off the floor. Lower back down. Find your arch. Next time you find your flatten, you'll lift 2 inches off the floor. Lower back. Find your arch. As you flatten, you find 3 inches off. Lower back and find your arch. So keep going with that, each time adding an extra inch as you flatten and lift. Each time resetting with an arch once you've lowered down. I just love these so much. Just a real chance to be really fully present with your body, with your breath, piecing the two together. You can add the arms, doing the opposite to the bum. Okay, so as the bum lowers, the arms can lift up. As you're in the arch, your arms are lifting. As you start to flatten and lift, the arms can come back down alongside. So it's different to what you might think, the opposite. Finding that arch. Arms overhead as you flatten and lift, the arms come back down. Couple more. Making this your last one. Next time the arms are just lowered, keep them there and then lower the hips back down. Find your way into your final rest, whether it's Shavasana or constructive rest. Close your eyes and become still. And just notice what you notice in your body, especially your upper body. See if you can really switch everything off. And just be with sensation. Moment to moment awareness. And often we kind of get tight in the shoulders from too much doing, too much trying to control every outcome of our futures. I do it all the time. I'm someone that kind of leans forward a bit into life and always planning ahead. And I often find this kind of burden, this weight on my shoulders. So balancing that out by having some awareness in the back of your body, especially in this pose, allowing the back of your body to ground, the front of the body to relax into the back of the body. The weight of the world off your shoulders, back to earth, back to where it came from, back to source. And you can start to just make some little movements again through the body, just however feels nice. And you might do a full body stretch, arms overhead, toes point, before rolling onto your side. And then helping yourself back up to a seat. And just taking a moment seated, closing the eyes and just assessing your shoulders, head, neck again. Hopefully there's been some relief, some space created by your practice. Giving your hands into Anjali Mudra, prayer position. And bowing your head to your heart to seal your practice for now. Thank you, Yogi. Thanks for practicing with me. Namaste.